Alrighty, so this is the moment you have been waiting for when we actually get to start using Firebase. Alright, so in this lesson, we're going to integrate Firebase. But just in case you are unfamiliar with what Firebase even is, let's go ahead and talk about that first. So Firebase is a suite of tools from Google. So if you go to firebase.google.com, you'll land here on their homepage. And you can see here their main header says Firebase helps mobile app teams succeed. And it's not just mobile, it's also web. You can go ahead and, watch the video, read a little bit more about that. And you can see here that Firebase supports iOS, Android, web, Unity, C++ even. And what it is, like I said, it's a suite of tools. And you can see here it says a comprehensive mobile development platform. All right, we can build better apps using things like Cloud Firestore. This stores and syncs app data at a global scale. We have machine learning for mobile developers, MLKit. I'm actually using MLKit in one of my contract projects, doing some really pretty cool stuff with that. So that's some exciting stuff. Cloud functions, you can run mobile backend code without managing servers. So all you have to do is write the cloud function code and just deploy it right up to their servers. And we're going to be learning about this and using it for our Stripe functions. And it's really cool. I really like the cloud functions. We also have authentication. This authenticates users simply and securely, and we're going to be using that as well. You have things like hosting, real-time database, and we're also going to be using cloud storage to store and serve files at Google scale. And then you have things like Crashlytics, which prioritize and fix issues with powerful real-time crash reporting. You can implement Crashlytics into your app and get notified whenever there's an app or a crash in any of your users' phones. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff here. Performance monitoring, test lab, in-app messaging, just a ton of stuff that Firebase provides. And you can choose all of these kind of a la carte. You don't have to use all of them. You don't have to make your app get really huge by incorporating it. You can pick and choose which one of these, if any, that you want to use. In fact, some of the biggest apps out there are using Firebase, like the New York Times, NPR, Lyft, Venmo. All these apps are using Firebase. All right, so that's just to kind of give you a high-level overview of what Firebase is capable of. So how do you use it? Well, if you already have a Google or Gmail account, you have a Firebase account. So once you're here at firebase.google.com, just go here and click on Go to Console and log in with one of your Google accounts. And once you have done that, you'll land here. It says Welcome to Firebase, and we can add a project. Okay, so this is the project that I was using for when I was developing the app for this section. So I'm going to add a new project here, and we're going to call this Artable. So you just provide a project name. Okay, and let's see here. This is all fine. I accept and create project. And this will take just a second, so I'll be right back once that's done. All right, it says our new project is ready, so continue. And here we are at our project overview, okay? So right now we don't have any apps added. You can see here it says add an app to get started, iOS, Android, and web. And you can actually have multiple of each of these added. All right, and then another thing to look at here is that we have currently the Spark plan. So if I click on this, it's going to show us the different plans that you can use for Firebase. Almost all of the Firebase SDKs are free and are free up to a really generous level. I would say probably the vast amount of apps that you create, you won't ever need to pay anything. So right now we're on the Spark free month. This gets you, we can take a look at everything that the free plan gets us. So for instance, if we're going to be using Cloud Firestore, so we can store up to a gigabyte. Total, our bandwidth is 10 gigs per month. We can have up to 20,000 writes per day, 50,000 document reads per day, and 20,000 document deletes. So you can see that you're probably going to be okay with the free plan. So let's head on back. There is one caveat though. All right, so I'll tell you up front for this section that if you want to continue all the way to the end and incorporate Stripe as well, you are going to have to upgrade to the Blaze plan or the Flame. But I would recommend going with the Blaze because the Blaze plan is pay as you go. All right, but it includes all of the free usage. All right, so you won't have to pay anything. But the cloud functions, it requires that you have a Blaze or a Flame plan to communicate with websites that are outside of Firebase. So we're going to be communicating with the Stripe servers. And so because of that, we have to have one of the paid plans. But like I said, it includes the free usage. All you have to do is enter in some payment information. You won't be charged unless you go over your usages, which I can almost 100% guarantee that you will not, especially if you just go back to the free plan after you've gone through this section and you don't want to risk anything. You can go ahead and just downgrade it again. All right. So we'll go over that once we get to the Stripe section, but just wanted to let you know about that up front. All right, so those are our plans. And then if you scroll down, it just kind of shows some more products and SDKs that you can incorporate. All right, what we're gonna do is get started. We're gonna add our app here. So we're gonna be working with iOS, of course. So I'm gonna click here. And we just go ahead and walk through this setup wizard. All right, so first thing that asks us for is our iOS bundle ID. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back into Xcode. And we are going to have to go through this process twice, once for each of our targets. Okay, so I'm going to select Artable here, get our bundle identifier, go back to Safari and paste that in. You can put in an app nickname if you like. I'm just going to put Artable. And then we have an App Store ID. This is completely optional. I'm going to leave it blank and say register app. All right, so once it's registered, you're going to be able to download a config file, and it's going to be called Google service-info.plist. So go ahead and download that. Once it is downloaded, go ahead and open up Xcode again, find that file in your downloads, and then go ahead and drag it right into your Artable folder. And copy items and create folder references and say finish. Now, if you're like me, you might already have a bunch of Google Service Info files in your downloads folder. So go ahead and just, if you have any extra dash numbers on the end of it, go ahead and delete it so that it's just Google service-info.plist. All right, and then back to Safari, we have downloaded the config file. We've put it into the root of our Xcode project like it shows here, and we can say next. And so the next part is to add the Firebase SDK. We've already gone through this in the previous lesson. We added it to our CocoaPods. So we can just say next. And then what it says to do is add the initialization code, all right? So to connect Firebase when your app starts up, add the initialization code in our app delegate class. So we're going to import Firebase, and then we're going to say Firebase app.configure. I'll go ahead and copy that, jump back into Xcode, find our app delegate file right here, import Firebase, And then here in the did finish launching with options method, we are going to paste that Firebase app.configure. I'm going to save it and build it, and then jump back into Safari, and let's go ahead and say next. And then it says to run your app to verify installation. So go back to Xcode, wait for this to finish building, and then we're going to run it. So this is the first build after adding all of those Cocoa Pods. So you can see up here that we have quite a few tasks that we're building. So this may take a couple of minutes. All right, so our build has succeeded. Gonna run it. And make sure that you are on the Artable scheme right up here. And looks like we've run it and we're on a blank screen. That's because it's still the initial view controller is set to the main storyboard right now, but that should be fine. Let's go ahead and open up Safari and see if it has detected. Oops, looks like I accidentally clicked on all right, and let's see if it is communicating with our servers. May need to uninstall and reinstall your app. Let's give it just a second. Oh, and there we go. It says, congratulations, you've successfully added Firebase to your app. So, awesome. Now we can say continue to console. And you'll see right up here in the project overview that we have Artable added. Very good. Now we need to go through that whole process again for the admin app. So this will be quicker this time. I'm just going to go to Add App, select Platform, iOS, the company or the bundle ID. Let's go grab that from the target. So Artable Admin. Just going to copy that back into Safari, paste that app nickname, Artable Admin. And then we'll go ahead and say register app. Then we go ahead and download the Google service info.plist file. Open up Xcode, and then we're going to add it this time to the Artable admin folder. So just going to go ahead and drop that right here above the info.plist, say finish. And I need to remove that -8 at the end. Should probably clear out my downloads folder of any of those extra files. But we got that, save it. Back into Safari, we can say next. We've already added the Cocoa Pod, say next. And then we need to initialize it in our app delegate. So back into Xcode, open up our Artable admin app delegate file, import Firebase, and then paste the Firebase app.configure. Okay. All right, so we've got that in there. Let's jump back into Safari, and we need to run it to verify that it is communicating with the Firebase servers. Oops. Stop, make sure that you switch schemes here. So we want the Artable, let's see here, Artable admin right here. There we go. And say run. And while that's running, let's come back over here to the Firebase console and wait for this to communicate with the Firebase servers. If you've been here for like a really long time, you can skip this step. I'd say give it, no more than 3 or 4 minutes before you skip this step. All right, there we go. We have successfully added to the admin app as well. So we can say continue to console. All right, so that's it. We have successfully added our 2 apps to our Firebase project. Here on the left is where we'll be spending most of our time. You can see here we have most of all of the Firebase products, authentication, database, storage, and functions is where we're going to be spending most of our time. We're going to be starting here in authentication, which we will get started with in the next lesson. All right, so I will see you then.